Today we're going to talk about 13.2, which is talking about area. Now, like I talked about yesterday in class, our perimeter is like our fencing that's on the outside of our backyard. Our area is all that space on the inside. So our formula for our area is going to be different than our formula for our perimeter. Let's go ahead and take a look. The base B of a two-dimensional figure can be any side. The height h is the measure of the perpendicular line segment from the base to the top of the figure. All that means is our base and our height can be interchangeable. It doesn't really matter which ones you choose as your base and your height. Our base and our height are just like our length and our width for our perimeter. So don't get those confused. It means the same thing. They're just different words that we use in order to identify those different areas. Okay. The area is the number of square units needed to cover that flat surface. A square unit is a square that is 1 unit long and 1 unit wide. To find the area of a figure, you count the number of square units inside the figure. So, when we're using graph paper in class, or when you're just drawing something and you're using graph paper, your graph paper looks like these figures down here. It's a whole bunch of boxes and you can draw shapes on them. Now our area is how many boxes are inside of that shape. So it's asking us to take a look at the shape right here. It says our base is 5 units or 5 squares across. Our height, we're going to count up 1, 2, 3, is 3 units. And in order for us to find our area, we have to count all of the squares inside. Well, we have 5 this way and 3 this way, so 5, 10, 15. So our area is 15 units. Now you'll notice how I skip counted by 5. I can do that. 5, 10, 15 to find our area this way. Or there's another way for me to find our area. I know that our base is 5 units and that our height is 3 units. So in order for me to figure out how many squares are inside that, I could also do this. 5 times 3. I'm multiplying our base times our height. Let's take a look at our next problem. How many units is our base? Well, you have to count all of those squares. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So our base is 8. And I'm just going to put a U for units because I don't have enough room. And our height is only 2 units. So if I were to try and find my area of this object, I could skip count by 8. So I hit 8 are here, and then 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So I could skip count by 8 and find out that our area is 16, or I could also multiply 8 times 2, and I'd get 16. So 16 units. Our last one, our base is 1, 2, 3, so 3 units, and our height is 1, 2, 3, 3 units. So if I counted by 3s, 3, 6, 9, I'd get 9 units as our area. So we have 3, 6, 9 through skip counting, and that's how I would get 9 that way. Or I can multiply 3 times 3, and I'd get 9. Now, the formula that we're going to be using for our area is right here. In order for us to find our area, we're going to multiply our base times our height, and that's going to give us our A, which is equal to our area. Let's take a look at a few more problems. Here shows us our formula. We have A for area, B for base, and H for height. And again, it really doesn't matter which one you choose as your base and your height as long as you're multiplying your numbers together. So we have our base, we're going to go with 6, and our height of 2. And all we have to do is multiply those together. 6 times 2 is 12, so our area is 12 feet. Again, important that we use whatever unit of measure they have. In this case, it is feet. Next one, we're going to do the same exact thing. So our area is equal to our base times our height. So here is our base, here is our height, 2 times 2, and we get 4. Super simple. 2 times 2 is 4. We have 4. Our unit of measure is meters, 4 meters. That's all there is to it to area. This formula right here. Area formula, pretty simple. Base times height or length times width, just like we were talking about with our perimeter. They mean the same exact thing. Alright, so let's take a look at our next problem. I want you to write out the steps, so I want to see that you are writing out your equation. A equals base times height. Fill it in. A equals 2 times 7. A equals 14. And we have inches. I want to see all 3 steps. It's important that we write out the steps. Not necessarily so important right now, but it will be more important the more we move up in math. So it's important that we start now writing down all of our steps. Okay, here we see an area for a square, and notice how it's just side times side. That's all. Those are what those S's are. So our area, again, equals base times height, or like it has there, we can say it equals side times side. Area equals 9 times 9. And our area is equal to 81. Now, there's also another way we can find the area of a square. We haven't learned how to do the square roots yet, but you'll notice that we take this number and multiply it times itself, which is the squaring a number or to the power of 2. So we'd have A equals 9 squared. A equals 81. This just means that we're multiplying the number by itself. Pretty simple, just like we did right there. Okay, next problem. Go ahead and write that one out using your formula. A equals base times height. A equals 8 times 14. And go ahead and solve that problem now. Off to the side, do your multiplication. Don't try and do that in your head. If we go ahead and work that out, 8 times 4 is 32. I put my 2, I carry my 3. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 3 more is 11. So my area is equal to 112 feet. Again, I did not put it over here. We need to make sure that we always have our unit of measure. Alright, let's do a few of them on the bottom. Now you'll notice you don't really have a lot of room, so it's important that you're using scrap paper to work these problems out, especially because you're multiplying some larger numbers. When you get over to number 7 and even number 5, when you're multiplying 5 times 13, those are some bigger numbers to multiply, and it really helps when I have a little bit of extra room to work those problems out. Okay, with this problem, again, we have to set up our formula. I'm going to write it above so that I have enough room. A equals base times height. Always write your formula first. A equals 13 times 5. And if you don't know this off in your head, which is perfectly okay, do it off to the side. 3 times 5 is 15. I carry my 1 and I get a 6. 65. So my area, oh no, there we go. My area is equal to 65 feet. Next problem, again, we're going to set our problem up. We have a square here, so I can say A equals side times side. A equals 6 times 6. And I know that 6 times 6, that one's an easy one. A equals 36 kilometers. Always have your unit of measure. Last one. This one's a little bit bigger of a problem to work out. A equals base times height. A equals 15 times 12. This one I definitely want you working out off to the side, so let's take a look. 2-digit multiplication. Let's see if you remember how to do this from the beginning of the school year. Okay, we're going to start. 2 times 5 is 10. I put my 0. I carry my 1. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 more is 3. Now I'm moving on to my tens place, so I need to put my placeholder in my ones place. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 1 is 1. My final step is to add them together. Now I write my area down here. Area is equal to 180 inches. That's all there is to area. Multiply one side times the other side. Now, tomorrow, what we're going to look at is adding shapes, or finding the area of shapes that might look like this. So what we're going to have to do tomorrow is form two separate shapes in order to find their areas. We're going to have to find a place to divide our shape, whether it's divided there, and then we'd have a rectangle here, and another rectangle here, or with this same shape, I'm just going to redraw it. It's about the same shape. I could divide it here. Then have a rectangle up top and another rectangle down bottom. Okay, so that's what we're going to look at tomorrow, is not only finding the area, but we're going to have to figure out one of the lengths of the sides in order to figure out what to multiply together. So tomorrow's lesson is a little bit more complicated, but for today, all we're focusing on is our area equals our base times our height. Multiply those two sides together. Always write the formula first. Again, our area for perimeter was P equals 2 times our length plus 2 times our width. Or some of you might like to do it P equals 2 times length plus width. Either of these formulas is fine. This is the only formula that I want you using for area. Alright guys, finish up that page that you were working on, do the multiple choice page on the back and those word problems that are there, and then you can get started on your homework. See you tomorrow.